Hello and welcome to Caching Waves. This is your update on EGLD. Now, first of all, I just want to talk about yesterday's video. Just looking for a leading diagonal and then an absolute collapse here to come. And this is one that's pretty exciting at this moment. You can see we absolutely collapsed with everything else exactly as anticipated. But because I put up a bunch of diagonals, I wanted to show you why I choose these targets, because they tend to repeat time and time again. These are the ones, my standard, as I've learned more and more about Elliott Wave, more experience. These are my targets for this reason. The one thing you got to keep in mind is sometimes the retracements are a little less than expected. You can see here we only retraced to 382 and the 382 on both, but on linear we came just shy of the 50. So you have to kind of go in between both to get a general idea. But you can see shallow retracements, but our extensions were bang on. That's why I put on the 618 and the 786. That's the extension of the wave 1 off the 2 for our third in that zone. And then for our fifth, our third, 618 to the 786 of our third off our fourth. And you can see we just ticked there at the 618. And then we broke trend and we're collapsing now. Exactly what we were expecting to happen. So looking for a long setup here as either a beginning of a impulse as a 1-2, or as a corrective pattern to the upside. So both options are in play. We have a 1-2 or an ABC up to the 1-1. These are very high probability patterns when your bullish and bearish scenarios are going the same direction. That's why I want to pay attention to this trade specifically, because you can see we have 5 waves up as a leading diagonal or an A wave. So in our third we'd expect upside, in our C wave we'd expect upside. So that's why I'm covering this one, and I want to track it over the next couple weeks because there's a high probability that it moves to the upside after the correction's done. So previously I discussed, after that call yesterday, we want to hold in the previous wave 2 area. Currently on log scale, I'd want to hold between the 382 and the 50 here. Obviously, our probability shift below the 618 at 35.95 would be kind of my line in the sand for this one. And looking to buy as high as the $48.34. And on linear, we've already passed through that. You can see it's close to the same area. It's basically the 50 and the 618 on linear. And on log, it's basically the 382 and the 50. So I've got a range here, 41.69 at the 50 and 56.77 on linear in that area. But I'm looking to buy in this area, but not quite yet. Another thing I use to judge how long a correction can take, because you'd be like, oh, the correction's done. Are we just going to take off? Again, it's possible, but not probable at this time. I like to give at least 33% of the previous move in time, which pushes us out to January 24th. And that's this wave in time, at least 33%. So I assume we're working on an A wave or a W wave in an ABC or a WXY complex correction, and going to be looking to buy in these areas. But I may take a short opportunity here as well, depending how the wave fills out. So this is a tough wave to count, just like everything today. It always happens when we get these stop hunts. It can make very odd patterns where it's a 3 wave or we eventually make a 5 wave. One thing I'm keeping in mind is if this is a flat pattern as an A, B, C looking for 5, where we'd get 4, 5, we'd be looking to target about the 2.618 extension at 48.56. And the way that would work is if this is an A, very short B, and extended out here for a C. It's like a 1-2, 1-2 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, like this. Alternatively, this could be a W wave as a series of complex corrections. If we end here and we'd come up for our X wave, look for our Y wave down in 3, depending how high our correction comes on this down move. But obviously we need more time and waves to fill out to get confident in what wave is actually happening. So we'll put on our retracement, flat retracement, and we'll move that over. So pulling off these fibs right now, if we pass this 70% retracement, then this can be an A wave in a flat. And if we just come to the 50 and the 618 and reject, depending what correction we get here and how high, if we don't pass the 70, I'd expect 3 waves down for a Y wave. And if we go above 70, we can also make 5 waves as a flat, and that'd be relabeled as an ABC. But anyways, paying attention in this area, I want to see what pans out right here, because if I get a nice setup as an ABC up to our 50 and our 618 and it looks really good, we're getting divergence on the 50 and something like an ending diagonal pattern, a miniature version of this previous, I might take this short to the downside as a scalp in this area, because there's a nice little trade setup there. But as of right now, I don't see upside on EGLD in the short term. But in the future, we either have a wave 3 to come or a wave C to come. Either way, looking pretty good, depending which scale we're working on, log or linear. On linear, we'd expect at least 97.19 as our 1-to-1 for our C wave. And for our third, at least 131 on linear at the 1.618 extension. But if we're working on log, obviously much higher targets. But that's not for this video. Right now, looking for this correction to pan out. I'm going to pay attention what goes on here in the next couple days. Make sure to subscribe if you want all the updates. And thanks for watching.